Views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Turn up my light, cause little bit of rain did come down last night. So I dial a certain number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The phone just keep on ringing, man, them people full of jive. Now I'm one of them people who like to complain. Down to the office, they try and make me shame. They had workers on the road, 8 men round a hole. Only one man working, the rest are fool. Where you going, baby? Down the road. Who you waiting for? What you just do? What you waiting for?
Good yawning this morning. It is Wednesday, the 14th of July, 2021, and you're on the clock with Erin Greene. I'd like to welcome you back to Guardian 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk, all day. On the clock, we engage organizations, institutions, social and cultural leaders, and ordinary people to better understand the impact of public policy, private sector development, and emerging social and consumer trends. On the clock, we have conversations that help us understand and navigate a rapidly changing Bahamas. Before we start the show and talk about yesterday's rain, we have a brief message from our sponsors, Greene, avocado, sea grape, and hog plum. If you're mad at the rain, you know there's a whole bunch of fruited trees out there that were just happy to see the rain. That rain is feeding all of our hog plum trees, our sea grape trees, our avocados, and our Greene trees. Today's show is actually brought to you by the Department of Inland Revenue. And a brief message. The Special Economic Recovery Zone allows for customs duty and value-added tax-free importation on the islands of Grand Bahama and Abaco for the following items purchased locally or imported: building materials, plumbing and electrical fixtures and materials, household furniture and furnishings and appliances, and hardware supplies. Apply today at mygateway.gov.bs. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Finance. Well, it is Wednesday, the 4th of July, 2021, and we have to continue this conversation about culture. I want to thank my producer for finding the perfect song to open the show with today. That way I only have to spend a moment reminding the Ministry of Works that there is a massive pothole in the front of Margaritaville on West Bay Street that needs your attention post-haste. Also, to Water and Sewerage, that also sits in the Ministry of Works. East Shirley Street is still leaking. There's still a leak there. It's been leaking for a long time. And I would just want to ask you, am I responsible for paying that money? Because I will turn it off myself if that is the case. Also, to Columbus House. That's that building on the corner of East Street and Shirley Street. I'm not surprised that you thought you could Columbus the sidewalk. But please remember the pedestrians, people without cars that need the sidewalk to stay safe in the construction zone that your office sits in. Don't forget the massive construction taking place just east of your building. Please stop blocking the sidewalk. Also, it leads me to ask the question, why won't Bay Street Medical be good corporate citizens and pay to ensure that their customers have somewhere to park their cars safely other than across the entire sidewalk? Again, in a construction zone. Imagine the pedestrians and laborers, employees, people who are going to work using that route, who have to walk in the road in a construction zone. See, the way that my health insurance is set up, that's a no-no. I am not allowed to take massive risks with my life like that. Being forced to walk into the road in front of in a construction zone, in front of one of the major tourist developments in the country, or just further east, in front of the construction of the new U.S. Embassy? Is that what we think of our fellow citizens in this good Independence Month? And that leads me to another point. Are we honoring essential workers or what this year? Who are we honoring, if not the most essential of workers? And I'm talking about our food handlers. That's the people who handle your food and ensure that it is in a state or a quality fit to be consumed by humans. So that's everybody, the people who cooking the food, the people who serving the food, the people in the fast food restaurants who waking the board and upset in the morning. But God bless you, you can push through the day, Mom. The very friendly and professional and helpful staff in our food stores, right? I send a shout out, it says in an advert, to the Super Value and the Fresh Market. I have to send them a shout out. They see my face too often. I bug them too much, but they handle it all with professionalism. And I appreciate that because my relationship with them is more important than my relationship with plenty people. They ensure that the food that I purchase is of the proper quality and fit to be consumed. What about the sanitation workers? You know I love my sanitation workers because they don't stop working, despite some of us that like to pick our petticoats up in the rain and close shop. What about the bus drivers? I want to send a shout out to Yellow Bird, the bus driver who would never leave me stranded, even if I was walking down the road with my gay self in my gay tie, just looking gay and upsetting bus drivers. Yellow Bird would always stop and pick me up. And Hog, who had a change of spirit and say, boy, if she willing to take this risk, I can make this little $1.25. We have to figure out how we're going to honor the people that are most important to the continuation of this process we call to the security officers who go in beyond the call of duty in the places where they are assigned to work. Some security officers know the protocol better than the staff in the store. We have to salute them. The fishermen and the farmers, them. Where are we going to go without them? We have to salute them. And them fishermen burning up all kind of money in BPL payment to make sure we could have good quality fish. You got to thank them. And the gas station staff. And let's not forget the creatives and the artists and the cultural practitioners. Can't forget them. So I ask you again, are we honoring essential workers or are we just honoring politicians again this year? Okay, I'm about to start the show. One last housekeeping note. Well, there should be two. I want to say condolences to the family of Bahamian fashion model, the amazing Pepper Johnson, who passed away yesterday. She was known as the fabulous island diva with the signature words, "Hello, darling." She was beautiful and timeless. And I've taken these words, these beautifully written words, from another media house, and I want to thank them for their tribute to Pepper Johnson. I did not know her personally, but I knew many, many women who did know her. And I am, taken aback by the impact that she's had on their lives. And so we say condolences to the family of Pepper Johnson, and may she rest in peace. Also, I wanted to just have a brief note, I see I'm running out of time, on this whole thing called vaccine hesitancy that I see politicians keep throwing around as the source of the government's problems in advancing the economy. if only these citizens would take this vaccine, if only they would do what's right for them. If only, if only. Well, there are many reasons why people are hesitant about taking the vaccine. I'm just going to give a couple of examples. See, there's this thing, vaccines and border control. Over the last 2 weeks, I've read some articles about jurisdictions who are putting restrictions on vaccines. In particular, apparently, the European Union restricted a number of citizens, people from the United Kingdom, from entering Europe or European jurisdictions because they had taken the AstraZeneca vaccine. And so I'd like to offer that one of the reasons why people are hesitant about taking a vaccine is because they need more information. They want to ensure that if they take vaccine A, well, that they will know which jurisdictions they will have access to with each vaccine. I had an opportunity to go to Paris, I think this year. I know it would require me taking a vaccine. But imagine if I had rushed to take a vaccine only to find out that I still wouldn't be able to travel with that vaccine. And I don't have any information to help me determine or get a sense of some important things, like if I took vaccine A, how long, or would I be able at any point in time to take vaccine B if I found out that vaccine A was not accepted in the jurisdictions I was trying to travel to? What about parents and children and trying to forecast their academic journey? Shouldn't they get a sense of which vaccine is required for entry into which jurisdictions? Also, a lot of people are hesitant because we still have not gotten a clear statement from the Ministry of Labor or the Attorney General's office addressing vaccines and employment. Are vaccines mandatory for all employees, for some employees, only employees in the tourism industry? What does the law say to this? A definitive statement from the AG's office about this? And a clear and definitive statement from the state as to your vaccine protocol. We need to know what the plan is, what the short-term plan is, what the mid-term plan is, and what you expect the long-term plan to be. These are things we deserve as citizens. I want to say, this is going to be my last point. LOI knows some of y'all don't take this seriously, but many of us question whether some of the members of parliament elected and appointed to cabinet, whether they have the moral authority to make these decisions on our behalf. When did we have a collective discussion about vaccines and children? Now, I don't have a children, but I listen out for news that it may impact my friends that do have a children. And I just want to know, when were we going to have a national dialogue about and vaccines? See, LOI don't think y'all take us citizens seriously in this process. LOI think y'all take us for a joke. But this is one of the most important periods in our history and times in our lives. And we require more from our government. We hold you to a higher standard. We require engagement, sustained dialogue. We want legal opinions. We want your legal position. We want more information than you are willing or possibly able to give us. But you've had a lot of time to figure this out. So I want to recommend one thing. Call a spade a spade. Be honest with yourself and others about your performance and ours. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to tell you why. I've got two fascinating guests on stream. Before I get to them, I think I got 2 callers on the line. I'm going to get y'all quickly. Then we're going to go to a break, and then we're going to get into the second portion of our show. Caller, you're on the clock.
How you doing, Erin?
I am good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Erin,
Yes, sir.
I hear you big up Yellow.
Yellow Bird,
Yellow
the bus
Bird.
driver.
The bus driver.
9A.
9-8.
Yeah.
Well, big up to Yellow Bird. It's amazing. I have a bus driver I want to big up also. We call him Yellow.
Okay.
He never left me when I was in the last 11 years going through my ups and downs with my government with an S on the end.
Yes, yes.
And so you see, everyone has a story that they can relate to. That is one thing I respect the former Prime Minister Hubert Alexander Ingram, the Honorable Hubert Alexander Ingram, for. He said, everything is relative. Now, you open your show thanking Yellow Bird with your gay self. It's amazing that Amos loves to call your show. And who people will say gay. Well, gay is for male. Lesbian is for female. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to live your truth.
Yes, sir.
Because at the end of the day, all have sinned and come short of the glory of the Almighty Creator in heaven, which is a spirit.
Thank you.
And so no one can point fingers at you. And if I'm dying and a gay person pass, you think I'm going to say, because you gay or you lesbian?
Don't call the ambulance for more.
I'll keep it too long.
Yeah. Thank you, Amos. Thank you very much. And that's the point, right? I salute these people because they don't care. They don't care. What they care about is professionalism. That when people engage them, they engage them respectfully and politely. They don't care about your personal life at all. They care that you can acknowledge that they are trying hard to do their job. That's what's important. Anyway, I think I got one more caller on the clock, or is that the interview line? One more. Caller, you're on the clock.
A godly day to this dark universe along with you, Erin.
Good morning.
Pretty Greene.
Boy.
I ain't going to take up much of your time.
Why, thank you.
But I want you to go to heaven with me. If you can't care, you cannot love. Okay, Erin,
you.
But you know what I really call you for?
Uh-huh.
I want you to, you're speaking of the youngsters, right, the children, and I hope if the older people that's in authority don't change this, I hope the younger people will change this. Because there is a portion in the Constitution where to speak of service.
Yes.
Now, I want to know who they or people they should be service to. That needs to be clarified.
Absolutely.
You see? So what you said is mandatory. What they're saying is mandatory that people work for somebody.
No.
You know, somebody could just inherit some richness, right? And they don't have to be service to anybody. If you understand what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying.
I say that they need to fix that.
Yes, sir.
And if they doesn't fix it, the youngsters need to fix it because they doesn't have to be servant to anybody.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. But that's not what we want, because we want our young people to understand the power, the agency, the beauty, right, of serving oneself and each other. That's how we're going to build this nation. That's it, my music. Time for a break. And when we get back from this break, Pamela Burnside and Patricia McColas will be joining me to talk about Independence Celebration, National Honors, and Creative Nassau.
I've been representing all my life. I'm getting ready to make it count this time. Since it's 2021 for your family line, you better get ready. It's about that time. So tell mama to be ready. Tell it to the whole family. The rock the top forward too. The count depends on you. So tell Ted to go tell below. My
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAO, growing wealth for future generations.
It's happening, and it's all straight talk with no chaser. As Stephen Miller is unleashed on your radio each weekday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. It's going to be smart talk, ideas, and innovation. Each weekday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. only on Guardian Radio, your station for fresh news and smart talk. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss that.
Like what you're hearing on the show? Want to support the conversation? Sponsor On the Clock today. Call Janet Lees at 302-2304. That's 302-2304. Be the solution. Sponsor On the Clock with Erin Greene, where she dissects, we discuss, and you decide.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Let's go, go! Come on! Oh, yeah! Yes! Have you ever lost a passport or had to get it renewed? The inside park, big crowd outside, the line won't even move. When someone walking and out, the new passport in their hand. I pour in sweat in, get served yet, boy, tell me what you do. He say, tip, 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 what? Everybody want tip. If you want to get some service, you know you better tip. Tip, 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 everybody want tip. If you want to get good service, you know you gotta tip.
Good morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. You're on the clock with Greene. Just a reminder, today's show is brought to you by the Department of Inland Revenue. My guests today are, well, before I get there, one moment. I got a couple of texts. I want to say to the texters, I'm going to get to your texts at the end of the show. And to my texter from yesterday, whose text I didn't read, I was not ashamed or afraid to talk about the transgender issues you raised in that text. They just didn't fit into the show right then. So we're going to get to that before the end of the month. And now, good morning to my guests, Mrs. Patricia McColas and Mrs. Pam Burnside. Good morning.
Good morning, Erin. Thanks for having us.
Good morning, Patty. How you do?
I'm good, Erin.
Good, good. And so first, I want to say congratulations to Mrs. Patricia McColas on receiving the designation as an officer in the Order of Merit in this year's National Honors. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And you are being recognized for your outstanding contribution to education, culture, and literary works. And so I wanted to ask you quickly, of all of your work and achievements, what are you most proud of? And that requires you to give us a brief introduction and tell us about your work.
Okay. I think to start with, we have a number of assets in this country, assets in our people, assets in the land and all of this. Mm-hmm. But what I have discovered on my way up into adulthood, so many Bahamians know what we have in ourselves, in our neighbors, in our land. And that's a dangerous spot to be in. So since university, I've dedicated my life to bringing to the fore, by writing about them, speaking about them, these assets that we need to protect. For example, in a recent forum, I think it was just yesterday, I was on the weekend, a forum run by Clayton Gardner, and talked about independence, for example. Bahamians must understand that independence is not a fixed point. It's just a point on a trajectory. And so if we don't care for that and realize that, we're in trouble. So I have, for example, I think I've read folktale tradition, for example,
yes,
by creating stories based on traditional characters, because it's something our tradition makes us so unique. But it was dying because television sort of had a massive, and of course, social media and all that, massive impact on that particular thing. But just to talk constantly about the fact that our lives, our road to the future is a bridge, a suspension bridge that hinges, that is suspended from fundamentalism, partisan politics, and ill-digested information. And that's a dangerous spot to be in, because that road to the future, that bridge, hangs over a very, very deep ravine. And so basically, I write about social issues a lot, because it's so important, because of those things that impel us to speak or to act or to honor people. We're in a dangerous spot, because in this country, we still don't enjoy equality of rights, simply because people with some mishmash, some strange fears and all of this don't realize you got state from your religion, your laws, and all of this. Yes. And so we really work on denying so many Bahamians rights, equality in their own country, for the flimsiest of reasons. So it's something I've written about. I write about hating politics, not politics, but partisan politics, because as long as we have a polity, and that's what we are, there'll be politics. But politics based on people who, using ill-digested information or whatever, it puts us in trouble. We can't move ahead. We don't entertain deep thought or deep research on subjects. So that's where I stand. I write books so people appreciate who we are, what makes us neighbors to some people across the globe, and what makes us unique. That's the it in a nutshell.
So now that you have been honored, tell me, how do you want to be honored? You want...
Well,
go on.
I don't care basically about... I deeply appreciate it, but you know why? Because this first designation, this honor, comes from my own country, my own people, our leadership, and I value that, because, as I said on the other show I mentioned that I just spoke on, it tells me that government and my people are beginning the importance of culture, the creative industries, as a massive part that we have to address if we want to move forward with quality as a nation. So that really, I was awed, was very happy. I don't need focus on myself. I am self-driven because I believe so strongly in what I speak about and what I see as necessary to move our country forward.
Absolutely. If it's me, if y'all ever decide you're going to honor me, I need 2 fruit trees, and I need it to be in a space where we could add more fruit trees as time goes on and call it the Erin Chickchani Greene Fruit Forest.
Yeah, those myself.
Good. So I want to bring Mrs. Burnside into the conversation. Good morning.
Good morning, Erin. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Mrs. Burnside is co-founder and managing operator of Dungalik Studios Art Gallery on Village Road, which is a magical place, right? And so yes. it's in that spirit. I want to ask you and Mrs. McCollis, traditionally, how do we bestow or give honors in our Bahamian communities, right? And what should this honor we're talking about look like at a national level? And I say that because I feel like Dongalik is like a tribute, and that you manage it and maintain it as an honor to Jackson Burnside, right? Who traditionally, how we bestow honor on people, and what should this look like when we take it to the national level?
But the whole point of I'm not into honoring. You mentioned the word community, which is what we talk about a lot. Patty and I, it's all Ann Jackson. We always talked about, because basically we are true, and it's Patty's words, true Bahamians with a passion and love for our country. So Dungalik was a cultural center, an art center. It was something that we started in the 1970s because we wanted to show the world that the Bahamas had things to offer that were unique, that were different. Because a lot of people were saying that we had no culture, we had nothing, we had no resources. But our people are our greatest resource. And in the Bahamian people lies tons of creativity, of abilities to be able to say, this me now. You know, take me the way I am, and appreciate me, respect me, celebrate me, because I have something very special to give to the world. It's a very simple formula.
Absolutely, and it works. It works. Every single event I've been to, whether I was volunteering or a paid participant or sneaking in, every single event is magical. And it's like the efforts of the people in the space shift the environment.
Right.
Do you think go on.
I must say, Erin, I like the way you open the show, because it reflects something I believe in so deeply. Our view of merit, our way of concertocracy. If you did not have Yellowbird, you didn't have the people in the manhole in the street, you didn't have the plumbers, the people we tend not to notice. These are the links that connect life in this country. And so we so often forget to highlight them and to thank them. And I see beauty in them. You don't have to be driving a Lexus or having a property in a gated community and all of this to be valuable. It's time we search out these people and recognize those ones. Let's stop saying the government them, because these people really make the connections. Those who do, so many don't. So many of these so-called common people, I don't see anybody as common, but that's a terminology often used. But those who do their jobs, I told Mr. Gardner, for example, the other evening, we talk about the failure of education, and we tend to start in on the Ministry of Education as the arm of government. But if you didn't, he has his four parents, mentions principal, the practitioners in the classroom, and so on. All of these responsible. Each of us is responsible. As I told him, if the plumbers in a school don't do their job and they cause an unscheduled holiday for the students, that person or those persons are a part of the problem. Every Bahamian has to pick up their bucket and carry water to put out the fire.
And when we talk about common, we use again the word community, because if you think of how the word common is used, like the common denominator, that means that we have a balance in society, that everybody is considered, and it's not just the politicians who they're just doing the job. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing with our money. So, why should they always be on it? They take on the job to provide a service. But we as a community, what we used to be when Patty and I were growing up, and that's one one generation from you, Erin, because we in set with your mother, that these are the things that they did as a community because they relied on each other. And that's why things got done and people had respect because they had to respect each other because we were our own lifeline. We were each other's lifeline. And this is what we need to bring back into this country, that sense of community, that sense of pride, that sense of respect by working. And I always go back on this independence to the words of our national anthem, the words of our pledge, forward, upward, onward, together. It's all very simple. The greater good is what is important. And we have forgotten all of those things to our detriment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I keep trying to tell people, I think this is the most important independence celebration to date. It's an opportunity to reinforce cultural and national traditions, particularly those not celebrated over the last 18 months. And I could be honest with y'all, don't tell them I say this, but nothing has been the same since the Valley Boys take their things from Bay Street, right? It's an opportunity to highlight new ways of living and being with each other in the midst of the pandemic and the state of an emergency, and an opportunity to chart a new course as a collective, right? Not driven by the political or religious will alone, but by the lived experiences of all Bahamians.
Right.
And so I had these 4 questions about the independence celebration. What went wrong? How do we fix it for the 49th? What do you want the 50th to look like? And what do we need to do to achieve that?
I simply, the baby with the bathwater. I think.
I need to ask you, what do you mean? The trappings of celebrating independence, the things on the streets and all of that? Is that what you're talking about?
That the entire celebration.
The thing is, I hope to see, I appreciate when, for example, there's a celebration of culture and history and all of that. That's always an important part of an independence celebration. The people who made it, one part of it happen. And I tell people, don't tell me about 1967, which has been poisoned by partisan politics, because that's just one point on the continuum I'm always talking about. We talk independence, you got to talk way back to Pompey's contribution, recognition that he was a human being with rights. And he took his thing to the governor. When he stole the boat, he was trying to get to talk to the governor about their rights. He got whipped and put in jail, whatever. But all of these people along this continuum, the events along it, and to also know, and these are the kinds of discussions I'd hoped to hear more of them on what independence is. We have to, in the classroom, for example, train our children to understand what personal independence is, why you should cherish it, for example. And the fact, hear this is the most important point. Your independence is dependent upon your respect for other people's space and boundaries, and teach them that we have to come together in mutual respect. And I must be as concerned with protecting somebody else's space as I am of my own. Other than that, you don't have a nation, according to my definition, that can survive into a future that will grow increasingly challenging.
Absolutely.
Just dealing with our Constitution and realizing as you go along, how many amendments haven't there been to the US one? I love the 19th one because it began to recognize that more people everybody who built the United States, those bodies, everybody had a right to those fine sentiments that were enshrined by the writers of the American Constitution. We haven't learned that yet. We think, oh, as it is, as you evolve as human beings, if you stand there, oh, it's sacrosanct, we can't touch it. Like we have two failed referenda on equality, for example. Why? At this, and so when we come to the 50th, I hope we have gone that much further along the trajectory, that continuum.
Absolutely. Pam?
Yeah, we have to have conversations. You know, when I say the baby got thrown out with the bathwater, Patty and I grew up for independence. We were on both sides of colonial rule and into independence. And I was away. And when we had independence, I was home and very, very excited about it all because it opened up a whole new vista of things that we could do for ourselves. We were the masters of our own fate. But what have we done with it? You know, ask that question.
Yeah.
We threw the baby out with the bathwater because we were more independent before we had independence, because we took care of ourselves. Yeah. We had to because there was no other choice. Otherwise, we would have died. We weren't dependent on anybody. We grew our own food. We built our own houses. We made our own clothes. Because, you know, and we say necessity is the mother of invention. Things were hard, but it made us stronger. It built up our backbone. But as we got independent, then we wanted to be like our colonial masters. We wanted to put on those trappings. What does that mean to our colonial mindset? We still say, you know, in order for us to be masters of our own fate, we have to put on these trappings. But they are only trappings. They are not foundations. We are not developing that foundation to say, we are Bahamian. What does that mean to be Bahamian? We have to respect who we are. We have to respect our work ethic. We have to respect our music. We have to respect our history. We have to respect our culture. We were green before it was fashionable to be green because we had our outside toilet and we had our clapboard house. Now everybody's thrown that away because they're ashamed to say they live in a clapboard house and had an outside toilet. But we can make millions by using that same formula again. So it's all to do with our mindset, how we look at things in order for us to move forward.
Absolutely.
But a lot of work to do.
Yes, ma'am. I see you got a caller on the line. Caller, you're on the clock. Hey, good morning to it.
And good morning to those ladies of that you have in your studio this morning. Are they recipients of the Independence Award?
Mrs. Patricia McColas received
one or two of them.
Only Mrs. Patricia McColas. She received the Order of Merit for.
I think that they should give her 2 awards, and the next lady in there, I think they should give her an award, because it's a saying that, you know, give the person their roses whilst they are still here, that they can have some with it. But, you know, needless to say, you know, you couldn't have picked 2 good persons to try to bring this forward as from love in their heart. And you just by them speaking, you know, you could listen to the passion in their heart. And it seems to me like they had so many ideas for the country as they were growing up, as they contributed in their significant way. But it seems to me like, you know, Ms. Greene, you know, it's sad to say, and people just ask me, why do I call Erin show, you know, but people got their mixed emotions and stuff. But, you know, when you live in a country and you could hear older people who try to set the course or plot the course of this country and see that it's going in a different direction, when you could hear a lady of that age to say, you throwing away the water with the baby in it, when you dissect that and if you really understand, you know, but needless to say, I hope that, you know, independence is just, for most Bahamians in this country, in this day and time, right now, is just a day to say that it's independent. Because if you're not happy right? And you're not contented, or you don't have a little bit to provide for you or your family. Having these holidays and and independence is what bring us out of basically slavery. But in our country, before I hang up, Erin, you still have a lot of Bahamians in this country are still trapped in mental slavery.
Oh yeah,
they don't forget. This hurt me. This hurt me. Some of these people in this country, where they come from, they come from the Bainton, the Camp Road, the Nassau Village. They come from the ghetto, and I use that with respect. With the name, use ghetto as a respect. But because they get these type of jobs and this and that, they don't remember where they come from. But you ask them if they used to go to the pump, if they used to use the outside toilet. Ask them. They can say, "Me, I never do it." But guess what? If you ask some of their ancestors, they say they used to be breaking on them outside toilet. But they used to y'all ladies have a good day, Miss Greene.
Yes. But listen, caller, I love you. You mentioned freeing from mental slavery. I listened to Bob Marley to this. So much wisdom was in that man. Beautiful music as well. But the thing is, we think we're independent, but Pam mentioned about taking on the trappings of colonialism. Our leaders stepped into the master's house and took on some of those same traits that enslaved us. Like they make people believe that government or the politics have the answer to everything through the collective wisdom as displayed by the caller who just spoke.
Absolutely.
And so we have to free ourselves from that by getting into thought and real knowledge, real sources of quality information, so we can offer that support as members of the collective.
Absolutely. We've got about 5 minutes left in the show. What I want to do is I want to publicly invite you to return to continue this conversation next week, because we haven't touched festival, conference, and experiential tourism or the orange economy yet. But I want to ask you guys more about, right now, to end the show, Creative Nassau, right? How did Nassau become a UNESCO World Heritage Site? And what's so special about Nassau? Because I've been to a place called James Siston, and they got enough mosquito there for us to start a mosquito farm. Why couldn't James Siston be a World Heritage Site?
Yeah. So first, Erin, it's a UNESCO Creative City, not a World Heritage Site. And we were able, as a group of very passionate Bahamians, when Jackson was alive, he started this group. And I'm the president, and Patty is the vice president. And we are only 4 people now in the group: Patty, myself, her husband Nico, and Rosemary Hannah. But we work very hard because we were bigoted enough to apply to UNESCO become a UNESCO Creative City of Crafts and Folk Art. And we use Nassau because, that was the capital. But we don't think that it's only for Nassau, because it is for the whole of the Bahamas. Because the family islands are where our heritage, our art, and our culture reside. So don't think that it's just Nassau. There's nothing so special about Nassau. It happens to be the capital, and we were here, and so we decided we wanted to be whole Creative Nassau, but that does not take out the family islands. That's very inclusive of the whole of the Bahamas. And so,
please tell our audience how many years?
We were at this for 8 years, because it was just us, no government help checking for us, and we would meet every week and say, we can do this, we can do this. And when we got that designation in 2014, we were just so happy, because people from 246 cities all around the world are part of that network, and we can draw on all of their whatever attributes in order to do something. So to the world, we were one of the first in this region to get this designation. connection. And so they treat us with more respect than we probably get in our own country. But we just do what we have to do because we believe our motto is celebrating and promoting Bahamian art, culture, and heritage from the inside out. That means dealing with we, the people, the Bahamian people is where our art, culture, and heritage and our development lies. Whether government get it or not, we're doing our little piece on our own side to make sure that the word gets out.
Pam and I went as far as northern Sweden in order to represent our country, and we had a wonderful time there.
Oh, yeah. All over the world. And we can make a call and talk to people from all over the world.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And they're willing to listen and assist us.
Right.
I want to say to all the young artists and experimental artists and mixed media artists and people interested in art and tourism, right? And culture and tourism, y'all got to link with Mrs. Burnside and Mrs. McCollis to find out how we can use our designation as a UNESCO creative city to host and put on some fascinating experimental art projects.
Yeah, and we're doing it. If they go onto our website, www.creativenassau.com, they will find all of the information and the history of what we've done. So we're a creative city of crafts and folk art based on our straw heritage and our Junkanoo tradition.
All right. Wow. And so also, when can we tune into the Creative Nassau radio show?
That happens every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Island FM 102.9.
Oh, wow. Okay. I just want to say this as we wrap up, because I'm at the 11 o'clock hour. I wanted to highlight all of these things Creative Nassau does, because it takes work to protect and preserve culture, especially in the face of cultural imperialism, right? A small country is more susceptible to a larger country dominating its culture, right?
Yes.
And I feel like the people who are interested in preserving culture.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we don't back down. We dead diggity.
That's why I love it. Please share your contacts with the audience. And again, I am charging you to come back on my show next week so we could continue this discussion.
Thank you, Erin.
That's a deal. Thank you.
Correct. CreativeNassau.com and email creativenassau@gmail.com.
Absolutely. To my texters, you hear my music. That means I have to go, but I will quickly read these texts. Erin, the government is not doing what they're supposed to do with our money. We can't feed ourselves and we can't keep the lights on. Roads are bad. She is an FNM. I don't know. Me? Erin, please tell that woman who is a president to stop calling you Erin. It's Erin. Erin, why are they just speaking up after they got rewarded? It sounds political. No. I don't think you have been able to hear them enough, but that's why you got to tune into that show, Creative Nassau, so you could see that these women have been doing work. Another text, vaccine for kids, that flyover a lot of people had. When did we as parents agree vaccinated? And another text, so why are there hungry, starving people in the world? Because they are gay or lesbian? No, it's imperialism. It's imperialism. Capitalism, sexism, racism, all these isms are just tools of imperialism. And that's the point. When we realize how much we are the same, we'll get past all of this divisive foolishness. I'm out of time. I gotta make way. Thanks for tuning in to On the Clock. Levi Miller and Unleashed is up next.